This is Nightline.
Tonight, Karen Reed walks.
What say you? Is the defendant at the bar guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
The stunning verdict found not guilty of murdering her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe.
I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters.
The massive celebration outside the courthouse. While inside, O'Keefe's family wept.
This was a shocking verdict.
How was the defense able to sway the jury? Plus, country star Kane Brown, whose massive hit Heaven helped him become a household name.
I don't know how heaven could be better than this.
Now on tour and opening up about the unusual way he's found to cope during hard times.
You have a bad shot, you got to focus on the next one. It's a great lesson for life.
And America's sweethearts, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, getting the payday they've been dancing, leaping, and chanting for years.
From ABC News headquarters in New York, this is Nightline.
Thanks for joining us. Tonight, a jaw-dropping verdict in the murder retrial of Karen Reed that's gripped the country and divided a community. Reed, throughout maintaining her innocence, steadfastly denying that she had anything to do with the death of her boyfriend, a Boston police officer. ABC's Matt Gutman has been following the case throughout and joins us now from Dedham, Massachusetts.
Juju, all day, Karen Reed supporters had been flocking the courthouse wearing their trademark pink, Karen Reed's favorite color. They had been on the steps here. They were on side streets. There was a police barricade that was eventually removed to allow them to get even closer because there were so many hundreds of people here. And many of them were watching the live feed from inside the courthouse. And when they heard those words, not guilty, there was this collective roar from the crowd. But there was an even louder roar when Karen Reed came down those courthouse steps and addressed the crowd almost like a rock star, almost like the Beatles had come back. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that.
Murder in the second degree. What say you? Is the defendant at the bar guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty. Not guilty.
Karen Reed not guilty of murder. Her supporters' cheers heard all the way inside the courtroom as that verdict was read.
What say you, Mr. Foreman?
Right now you can hear the cheers of the crowd right there. Alan Jackson, Karen Reed in that light blue suit emerging from the courthouse.
John O'Keefe's family wept as they heard the jury's decision. After 4 days of deliberations, 12 jurors finding her not guilty in the death of her police officer boyfriend after that booze-filled night out.
I could not be standing here without these amazing supporters. No one has fought harder for justice for John O'Keefe than I have.
Reed was found guilty on a far lesser charge, operating a vehicle under the influence.
This was a shocking verdict. I think people thought there might have been some mixed version of guilty and not guilty, but to walk away with only a guilty of OUI and 1 year of probation, that's something that many could not have anticipated.
Nearly a year after her first trial ended in a hung jury, Karen Reed walks away from that courthouse.
Thank you to my supporters. They pulled us through on their backs. Thank you.
After countless witnesses, experts, and court exhibits, it all came down to one big question: whether Reed hit John O'Keefe with her SUV and left him to die in a blizzard.
We've been following the Karen Reed saga for years, from the first trial now to the verdict here, and it's been an absolute media circus of people finding something about this case to gravitate towards, finding something that was reasonable doubt, a reason to believe there might have been a cover-up.
The case has been an obsession for people everywhere, sending many on social media into a frenzy.
There's way too many coincidences in this investigation to find guilt.
There is no doubt what happened that night. There is no doubt who did it.
Throughout that retrial, prosecutors painted a picture of a vicious Karen Reed, who in a fit of anger, they say, killed O'Keefe.
She was drunk, she hit him, and she left him to die.
Reed's defense, in turn, maintained that she's an innocent woman who'd been framed.
There was no collision. There was no collision. There was no collision.
It all started on a Friday night in January 2022. Reed and O'Keefe drinking with friends at a local bar. Later that night, Reid says she last saw O'Keefe after dropping him off at an after-party at a fellow Boston police officer's home. She says she awoke in the middle of the night and he still wasn't home.
I called a few of his buddies, their wives.
I spoke to Reid in 2023. She said she'd called around, but no one had seen O'Keefe. So she went looking for him.
Now I have an immense sense of dread, like a fright in me that I have not experienced before.
Reid meets up with some of John's friends, and they all return to the house where the after party was, and then she spots him in the snow.
His eyes were shut, and he had spots of blood in different areas on his face, and he was still. Not stiff, but still.
O'Keefe is soon declared dead, but the investigation is about to explode as investigators find pieces of a taillight that they say are from Reid's car at the crime scene, alleging they broke off after she hit him with her SUV.
I was talking to my best friend on the phone, and I said, there's a lot of cops circling, and I said, I think I'm gonna get arrested.
Karen Reid is arrested, and then arrested again, as seen in this police footage in A Body in the Snow, the trial of Karen Reid on Max.
Vehicular homicide and leaving the scene caused death and bodily injury.
I don't even have underwear. Can I put pants on?
Reid was later charged with second-degree murder, manslaughter, and leaving the scene, and pleaded not guilty. Would you say that you were angry with John that night?
Yes.
Could you have been angry enough and slightly drunk because he had annoyed you that in a fit of rage you just backed up and
Never.
tried to tap him?
Would never.
Not to try to kill him, but try to
tap him with my 6,000-pound full-size SUV. To hit John's body with my car. No.
In the months leading up to that first trial, Reid's defense team arguing in hearings and filings a stunning new theory that the injuries on O'Keefe's body were not consistent with him being hit by a car. They claimed that she was framed.
There are people in that house that are actually responsible for his death and who murdered him.
What do you think actually happened that night?
Unfortunately, I don't think anybody's ever gonna know. The only thing that I know definitively is Karen and John went to Fairview as a couple, and one left and one did not.
Ronnie Stanislaw was one of the 12 jurors in that first trial and a trained paramedic in Boston. Was there one piece of evidence that you thought was the most important?
It's the damage to the vehicle and the injuries that were sustained by John O'Keefe. To me, it was not consistent with the damage to the vehicle. In my experience, and what I've seen before as a medical provider.
The prosecution insisting that no one at the party had anything to do with O'Keefe's death, and they denied that Reid was being framed. The homeowner testifying in trial, contradicting Reid's account.
And at no point in time over the course of that evening or the early morning there did John O'Keefe or Karen Reid physically come into your house?
John O'Keefe and Karen Reid never entered my house.
The defense questioning the lead investigator, State Trooper Michael Proctor, on the stand in an attempt to discredit the investigation, asking him to read aloud derogatory texts he sent about Reid.
She's a whack job. Yes, she's a babe. Weird Fall River accent, though. No ass.
What, if any, impact did that have as far as your investigation was concerned regarding this?
These juvenile, unprofessional comments have zero impact on the facts and the evidence and the integrity of this investigation.
After the trial, Proctor was suspended without pay and was fired earlier this year following an internal investigation.
About the case.
I spoke with him in a new interview for ABC's 2020. Did you plant evidence?
Absolutely not. And I'm laughing because it's such a ridiculous accusation. It's something I would never do. I've never done.
Proctor never made an appearance in that retrial. The prosecution called accident reconstruction expert Judson Welcher, who analyzed data from Reid's SUV that tracked its movements.
So again, the initial forward motion is 34 feet, then backing up an additional 53 feet. Was accelerating at 74% throttle.
He also did his own reconstruction of what he believed could have happened the night O'Keefe died.
Let's have the car drive into me. I did this at very low speeds. This is from a camera that we have pointing down at it. This is the speed. You'll see it's only about a 2-mile-an-hour impact. But even a 2-mile-an-hour impact redirects me back and causes me to rotate and take a step.
The defense, on the other hand, raising doubt about how O'Keefe sustained his injuries.
Can you determine that those are from a dog?
I believe they are, yes.
The defense's own accident recreation experts testifying that O'Keefe may not have been struck with the vehicle at all.
My opinion is that the evidence is inconsistent with Mr. O'Keefe being struck on the right arm by the SUV.
But the trial wasn't just technical. John O'Keefe's mother, Peggy O'Keefe, taking the stand for the first time, bearing her grief to the jury.
So then they brought us down to the room where my son was. He was bruised up, his eyes were closed. It's just not a good scene.
But even her raw emotion couldn't convince jurors to convict Karen Read of murder.
For Karen Read, this is the end of a saga as it applies to the criminal case and what's inside this court. We do know that there is a civil lawsuit by the family members of John O'Keefe against Karen Read, a wrongful death lawsuit. And unless they decide to reopen this case, and they probably won't, John O'Keefe's family has to bury a brother, a son, a guardian, and not know what exactly happened to him. And that shouldn't get lost in this story.
Our thanks to Matt. For much more on this case, watch the special edition of 2020, Karen Read, The Verdict, now streaming on Hulu. And when we come back, we're one-on-one with country star Kane Brown. The recent changes, he says, have transformed his life. Welcome back. Kane Brown is one of country's hottest voices, with superstars like Jelly Roll among his fans. His new tour and new music lets fans in on the struggle it's been to get here, and his gratitude for those who've stood by him. Here's Nightline's Ashin Singh.
His voice has helped define modern country music. A genre-bending hitmaker, Kane Brown, who refuses to be boxed in as he finds a new rhythm in both life and music.
I feel like there's a new life being born, so it's really cool just to be where I'm at right now, headspace-wise and all. So I'm just excited about the future.
Earlier this year, the 31-year-old released his new album, The High Road.
It seems like this album is almost like the Kickstarter for this new era of KB, right?
I know people feel like they have like spiritual moments or whatever, but like I would say in this last month or 2 months, everything's really switched for me. I think honestly the working out and just, you know, really stopping the nicotine, really focusing on me, I feel younger. I have so much more energy now. I'm just way happier. My depression's not there as much anymore.
The album blends playful sounds like Miles on It, an upbeat single with an EDM spin that has reached nearly 300 million streams on Spotify, with the deeply personal and powerful, like Haunted, with a more introspective, vulnerable message, thanks to his open and honest lyrics about mental health.
Happens every time that I'm alone. Part of me is feeling like a ghost.
What was it like working with Jelly, first of all, such a genuine person, but also what was it like putting some really real low points out there on a track?
I look at Jelly and myself and see a lot of each other, just because we've both, you know, had crazy struggles, just like everybody else has. And I say this at my shows, I feel like a lot of people look at celebrities or look at stars, look at people that's in the spotlight, don't look at us as we are also normal people. And I'm still, you know, the most regular person you'll ever meet. And I just want everybody to know, just as Jelly does, that we all have struggles and that we all have people that will love us no matter what and we can reach out to and get help before we hurt ourselves, especially guys, because I feel like guys, you know, they won't talk about it.
The lead-off track, I Am, like,
yeah.
Like it's a song of affirmation just as much as it is a banger.
I know the road ahead will make me who I am. I am.
How did you get to be so vulnerable on this record, and why? Why be so vulnerable?
Well, I was in a place where I wasn't leaving my house, and I was, you know, in my head, I had all these emotions, and just trying to have to put an album together and think about stuff that I was going through. So, you know, I just had a new kid, just looking left and right and seeing what I could pull together.
And for Kane, family is at the core of it all. His role as husband and father of 3, the main priority, and his wife Caitlin, his anchor.
One more time right here. Thank you.
When I talk about it with my wife, you know, that's the person that I can really, you know, tell her anything. So it helps me talking to her. She's my therapist, basically.
And for Kane and Caitlin, their chemistry hits every note, like in their track, Body Talk.
Is your body looking for somebody? 'Cause I'm looking for somebody like you.
She's a therapist, and she's your co-writer. She's got a couple songs on the album with you. I know it's not your first time working with your wife, Caitlin. I mean, what's it like, the two of y'all working together?
It's been awesome, man. Just, you know, to have somebody that you love up there on stage. And it was hard for me to do features with other people, like especially if it was a female and it was a love song. It just didn't make sense because I've always been with Kate.
Now, while on a world tour, relief and recentering often comes for Kane when he's hitting the links and staying active.
So have you been using golf as a tool to kind of work on your mental health, like as a place to relax, or because this is a game of frustration for me?
Yeah. No, this is just, golf for me is just like a peace thing. Just going out, no distractions, just you and the golf ball, and either you're gonna love your day or hate it.
Whether it's on the course or for the crowd, Kane Brown is playing the long game.
What are some lessons from golf that you wish a younger Kane Brown knew about?
I would say that you have to overcome all the negatives, you know? You have a bad shot, you gotta focus on the next one. That's the main thing about golf.
Because if you don't, that next shot, you're playing it out the rough or something.
Yeah, it's all about the next shot, and I feel like that's a great lesson for life. There it is.
There it is.
Come on.
That's the game. That's the game. That's the game.
Our thanks to Ashin. And when we come back, the hard-won reward for the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Finally tonight, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders getting a pay raise worth cheering about. The big bump up revealed by the squad's Megan McElhenney in the second season of Netflix's America's Sweethearts, Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
They wanted to give us a raise, and we ended up getting a 400% increase, which is like life-changing.
Members of the world-famous cheering squad, some of whom the New York Times reports were making $15 an hour, have been pushing for a raise for years, from the team Forbes ranked as the richest in the NFL last year. Go ladies. That's Nightline. You can watch all of our full episodes on Hulu. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Thanks for staying up with us. Good night, America.